everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Crystal, and for this side dish round we're making bread. We have 2 pieces of naan and we're going to layer it with some cheese and then bake it in the oven, and it's simply delicious. So let's get started by mixing together 1 cup of water with 2 teaspoons of yeast and 1 teaspoon of sugar. And what you're looking for is the yeast to bubble up and have that air action going on, and that's when you know it's ready to use. So we're going to add this 1 cup of yeast to 2.5 cups of flour. I've used all-purpose flour here. Just going to get all that yeast out. We've got 2 tablespoons of yogurt in there, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Just throw that all in there and give it a good mix. Now the wonderful thing about this particular bread is you don't need to leave it to rise for too long. Usually, you know how when you're making breads you have to let it rise for about an hour and a half. The good thing about this recipe is you don't need to do that, and so it lets you get your food on your table a lot quicker, and it's not much of prep time. So I've mixed it together just a little bit, and now I'm going to go on and use my fingers. So clear the work surface, just empty out all the contents of your bowl onto your counter. And this is going to get a little messy, but it's fun to play with dough, isn't it? So usually with Indian recipes we make rotis and we make naan, so there's a lot of dough making, and it took me a long time to get the right consistency to make this dough. I still have trouble making rotis even to this day. It's an art, it involves so much kneading and stuff. So getting this recipe done, I learned how to make pizza dough as well because it's very similar, it just doesn't have the yogurt in there. Okay, so we're going to just knead this dough, get it all together. I'm kneading this dough for about 30 seconds and it's come together nicely. It's still a little sticky to the touch, which is fine. So just form it into a ball and stick it back into the bowl that you mixed it all in and set it aside. So while I have the dough resting, it's not really resting, but we just set it aside to make the cheese filling. I'm going to get started by mixing together half a brick of Philly light cream cheese. Let's just throw that into a bowl. And to this, and it's been sitting at room temperature, so it's quite soft. To this I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of finely chopped shallots and a teaspoon of finely chopped Thai chili. Now what I've done is I've used the entire chili, and that's about how big it was, and I've used the seeds as well because I like me some spice. And if you're sensitive to spice, go ahead and de-seed it before you add it in. So that's a teaspoon worth of finely chopped Thai chili, and we're going to add some pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and just go ahead and mix all of that really well together. And now I'm going to add some basil to this mixture. The basil adds a wonderful fresh flavor. I've piled my basil leaves one on top of the other, and I'm going to roll it and do what they call a chiffonade, which is a fine ribbon chop. And if you watch my previous videos, I'm doing a crystal chop, which is not tucking my fingers in like you're supposed to. So we have that. I'm just going to throw this into the cream cheese mixture. So that's mixed. We're going to set that aside, back to the dough. So we have the dough here. Get it out and flatten it out a little bit. I'm going to get my knife and cut it into quarters. Just like that. Okay, and we're going to work with each quarter. Just set it aside. Work with 2 for now because it's going to make 1 stuffed naan. As with any dough, we flour the surface, preventing it sticking. And flour your dough. Okay, roll it into a ball. Press it out a little bit. And get rolling. Now you want to go as thin as you can because I like making this crispy. If you like your bread a little thicker, it's kind of how you like to eat your pizza. If you like eating a thicker crust, go ahead and make a thicker crust. If you make it thin, like I do, go ahead and make it thin. This is where you can play around with your taste. So about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. And that's one. I'm going to go ahead and roll out the second dough ball. So here I have the two naans rolled out. You want both of them to be of equal size because you're going to lay them over each other and you're going to crimp the ends. So I have here the cream cheese mixture. I'm going to use half of it and just throw that over the naan. Use a spatula to just spread it out into a nice even layer all over the naan. Save about half an inch around the sides because you're going to crimp those ends. So once you're done spreading your cream cheese layer onto your naan, we're going to brush it with a little bit of water around the 1 inch, the half-inch rim that you've left around the sides. That's just going to help the second naan stick onto it. So lay that on top, lay the second one on top, press down the sides, and use a little bit of a thumb stretching action to just even it out and press down. I like my naan to have a rustic look, but if you'd like it to have a little bit of a prettier presentation, go down and press with a fork to crimp the edges. I'm just going to do half of it like that so that we see what it looks like after it's baked. So once that's done, I have some olive oil here that I'm just going to drizzle over the top and just brush it over. And we're going to finish off the naan with some sesame seeds. These sesame seeds provide a nice texture and a nuttiness. You'll find it on most naans. You could go ahead and top it off with some pine nuts, chopped pine nuts, or you could even use poppy seeds if you like. So once this is done, go ahead and put it in an oven that's been heating to 450 degrees. You could lay it on a pizza stone or you could lay it on a cookie sheet and stick it in the oven for 15 minutes until the top is nice and brown and you have little bubbles that have risen on the top. So this little delight, I just pulled it out of the oven, so it's nice and hot. You can see how bits of it have browned up nicely and in these little pockets of air. And once you cut into it, you see the steam bursting out. Bursting out? Is that what steam does? Okay, so slicing through it with a pizza cutter. Ooh, look at that steam. So, so each naan makes 8 pieces. Earlier I said the naan cooks for 15 minutes. I actually combined the cooking time of both the naan. So it's about 7 to 8 minutes per naan. And keep an eye on it. Sometimes it's done in 7 minutes, sometimes it's done in 8. It depends on your oven. Okay. Now doesn't that look delicious? It is hot. So just going to lay it on a serving platter right there. You might want to double or even triple this recipe because honestly once you bite into this, it's going to be gone in a snap. Okay, let's give it a taste. It's hot. Gonna dig clean. Hot up. Do you see the cheese? It's like all melty and it's kind of absorbed into the bread. You get the crispy outer layer and the soft gooey cheesiness of the inside with all those herbs. Delicious. I enjoyed making this dish. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Have a good week.